Hey there, and welcome to Doc Talk today. We're going to have a great show. We have Dr. Kevin Hill here, and he's going to talk about cattle health management system, which is at the website www.hospitalpen.com. We're going to talk about a new record-keeping system that you can use for your farm and ranch that's going to be a great value and a great tool to use.
Closed captioning brought to you by Ag Promo Source. Together we grow. Learn more at agpromosource.com. This segment brought to you by Kansas Regenerative Medicine. Your stem cells, your health, your life.
Hey folks, welcome to Doc Talk and welcome to the show, Dr. Kevin Hill.
Hey Dan, nice to be here.
Thanks to be here. Dr. Hill is the Technical Services Manager for MERCK Animal Health. He's a veterinarian. He's practiced veterinary medicine for many years. He's from Kaysville, and pretty excited to have you here on the show. Thanks for taking the time out of your schedule and being here, and really excited about what we're going to talk about today, which is something you have a passion for, is the records and things that we do to keep track of things in stocker operations and feedlots and beyond.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's nice to have a chance to get some of this information out, so I'm glad to do it.
You bet. So talk to me a little bit about why should we be keeping records? What are some of the reasons that ranchers or feedlot operators, sometimes we talk about just needing the back of the glove. Well,
yeah.
What are some of the reasons we get beyond that?
Well, size is one of those things. The glove used to work pretty good till you ran out of space. But in this day, really from the 30,000 foot view, we have a lot of people watching what we're doing, and our food consuming public really demands that we document that we're good stewards, that we're treating animals right, and that we're, especially this day and age, a lot of talk about antibiotic use. And so if we don't have the records to show that we're judicious about that use, that we're being supervised professionally by a veterinarian, et cetera, then we're in for some criticism.
You bet. And we talked about that, some of the terms that come up, the VCPR and avoiding residues. Those would be some things that are definitely in the media and something that are being scrutinized by consumers.
Absolutely, yeah. When you get down to the practical things that we need today, that veterinary client-patient relationship is a key thing to veterinarians. They have to demonstrate that they have a working relationship with a producer. They know their animals and they're intimately involved so that they're in a position to make those judgments about antibiotic use. And then for the producer, we want to make sure that we protect the food supply, that we don't ever have a violative residue from a drug that's been used in treatment. And so keeping track of that is extremely important for producers these days.
Right. And so when we talk about that, if we don't measure it, you can't improve it or can't change it, right?
Right.
And so in this kind of viewpoint of constant improvement in our food supply and producing beef, it's something that you're working hard towards bringing some tools.
Absolutely. So there's a lot of things. Yeah, if you've got the records, then you've got the basis to start measuring something. Maybe you want to measure how effective is my treatment. Maybe you want to measure how much antibiotic am I using. I'd like to reduce that. I'd like to be more socially conscious about that. So yeah, you're right. Until you have sort of a retrievable database that you can go back to, then you're able to start doing some of those things.
Awesome. Well, let's take a break. Folks, it's going to be a great show. Dr. Kevin Hill, Kaysville, Utah. We're going to talk about some things that you can do, go on the web and utilize starting tomorrow to help keep records in your operation. More from Doc Talk after these messages.
Soil is the life of a farm, and for 25 years, SureCrop Liquid Crop Nutrition has helped growers produce abundant quality crops while preserving and improving the soils they steward. SureCrop offers complete soil and plant analysis with cropping recommendations, delivery direct to your on-farm storage, and quality crop nutrition custom blended for your field. Choose SureCrop for the assurance of excellence for your soil. Call today or visit their website for more information.
We do business with Blueville because of the quality of their work. It is excellent quality, and because they make a commitment to their customers.
We enjoy the benefits of hiring a good company to help us maintain this home.
We will always do business with Blueville. We have for many, many years, and there's no reason for us to look for any other service.
This segment brought to you by Santa Fe Trail Meats in Overbrook. Visit us online at sftmeats.com.
Hey folks, welcome back to Doc Talk. Dr. Dan Thompson here with Dr. Kevin Hill, who's the Technical Services Manager for MERCK Animal Health. And first things first, we want to thank MERCK. Has been a great sponsor of Doc Talk from the beginning. And it's been a great partnership, and we really enjoy working with you and your company. But folks, Dr. Hill brings a wealth of information as a veterinarian, someone who sees a lot of cattle, has done a lot of work in a lot of different herds out in the Utah area and beyond. And this is kind of something you've been working on, and now we get to roll it out and let people use it. And let's explain a little bit about this program that you all have developed.
Yeah, this came about because we saw a need as our salespeople would go out and interact with customers. We've got that sort of middle level feeder is where we were initially targeting, that feeds enough cattle that they've got to have records, and they were trying to keep them in a notebook or on the back of their glove or wherever, and it was just getting away from them. They just couldn't find the records they needed when they wanted to and weren't very durable. So we decided that if we could build a simple to use electronic tool that they could go back and find information when they needed it, that would be a big value to the people we serve.
You bet. Well, tell me, what is the name of your program and how do we find it? Just kind of kickstart us off.
Yeah, it's called the Cattle Treatment Manager. On the web site, it's www.hospitalpen.com. So it's fairly easy
I love
to
that
remember.
name. Yeah. And kind of just then explain in a nutshell what this program does, and then we'll start getting into some of the details as we go.
Yeah. What it really does, what we hope it does, is it brings veterinarians and producers together more. Maybe that's virtual and electronic at times, but at least we get more veterinary input and oversight into what the producer's doing, and the producer has to worry less and less about remembering what his instructions were, and it's all laid out for him. So the veterinarian helps design the inputs, the instructions that what each treatment is going to be, and then the producer, it's automated from there for him.
So in other words, we're going to have the veterinarian working with the producer, and obviously when you say virtual today, everything's virtual. I went out front and asked the young lady for a piece of paper. She had to go through, ask somebody where it was. You know, I mean, nobody has paper and pen anymore. And so when we start to think about that, it's right on the direction of where we need to go. And I commend you for developing this, and it's free of charge, right?
Yeah, just an added service for our customers. Yep.
Yep. So when we start to think about this, and we'll move forward here in the show, folks, go to www.hospitalpen.com, Cattle Treatment Manager, and when we come back from break, Dr. Hill, I want to talk about, the importance of setting up protocols, how does these records get to their veterinarian, and then how we can use it to make better decisions.
That'll be good.
I appreciate you being here. Appreciate you watching the show. Folks, more after these messages.
Earlier in my life, I rode bucking horses and rodeos, and my shoulders took such a beating, and that was probably the reason for having several previous surgeries on both shoulders. About a year ago, I decided that I didn't want to have another surgery, and so I contacted Kansas Regenerative Medicine, took their treatment process. It was relatively pain-free. Now, after 8 months, my shoulders have healed to the point where I think I'm probably 90 to 95% of normal. It takes a couple of months to start to see results and feel real progress. That continued to increase gradually until now at approximately 8 months. And I'm extremely pleased. I've got full range of motion. I can lift weights, I can throw, I can do a lot of things that I couldn't do without a lot of pain previously. So I'm tickled to death with the results, and I'd recommend this process to anyone.
Tarwater Farm and Home has been family owned and operated since its beginning in 1978. What you need for farm and agriculture, lawn and garden, clothing and footwear, and so much more. You'll be surprised at what you'll find in this huge store. They have what you need and lots of it. So come take a look. You'll discover that customer service is first and foremost. Always has been with the Tarwaters. Tarwater Farm and Home, 4107 North Topeka Boulevard.
Healthy cows start with the new Hired Hand automatic livestock sprayer. Rancher invented to provide an efficient alternative to pour-on and injectable parasite management systems. The portable design allows cattle to treat themselves head to hoof. Strategic device placement with pass-through activation technology takes the stress out of parasite treatment for cattle and the rancher, leaving more time to tend to other vital tasks on the farm. To learn more, visit cowsprayer.com. The new Hired Hand makes healthy cows easy.
Ag Promo Source is a unique group of marketing specialists with one mission: help your ag business grow. Each affiliate has their own area of expertise, and they work together to bring you advice, products, and services. To get started, visit agpromosource.com. Ag Promo Source. Together we grow.
Grain sorghum is one of the most important cereal crops worldwide, and Kansas leads the nation in its production. Over the years, sorghum has been either exported, used in animal feed domestically, or for other industrial uses. Recently, its use in the ethanol market has seen tremendous growth, with 30% of domestic sorghum typically going to ethanol production. Kansas Grain Sorghum is committed to sorghum research, market development, and education. Learn more at ksgrainsorghum.org. This segment brought to you by Kansas Soybean Commission. Progress powered by Kansas farmers.
Hey folks, welcome back to Doc Talk. Dr. Dan Thompson here with Dr. Kevin Hill, and we're talking about the Cattle Treatment Manager, which is at www.hospitalpen.com, provided by MERCK Animal Health. And Dr. Hill, talk to me a little bit about then, what all is involved. First of all, what does it help me do on a day-to-day basis?
The first thing it really does is a resource that records your processing and treatment protocols.
Okay.
So with the help of your veterinarian, you input the processing strategies, the vaccinations you want to have maybe on arrival or 14 days in, et cetera, and also the treatment protocol. So what do I want to do if I have a respiratory case? What do I want to do if I have a foot rot case? So those are all set up ahead of time. Your veterinarian has that input, and then all the dosages are calculated based on the weight of the animal. The meat withdrawal times are automatically in there, so all that kind of decision making or points where we could make a math error or forget something, hopefully we've taken care of that. So once we get the protocols established, then we're ready to go to work.
And I think that when we talk about protocols, one of the things producers might not understand, they may be sitting there thinking a bottle of an antibiotic is a bottle of an antibiotic, and regardless of the brand or whatever, I'm just going to use this and that'll cover whatever ailment, if it's a pink eye or a pneumonia or a foot rot. But there are some legalities on whether or not we can use these products, and having that VCPR to set these protocols up is vitally important.
Absolutely, yeah. For both ends, the producer needs to be following adequate instructions, and getting professional advice, but a veterinarian, like you say, is responsible to be giving the correct advice. And so there are specific indications for different products, and so that's really the key, is that we can eliminate that miscommunication that comes, because it's detailed. There's a lot of stuff to remember, so
You bet.
I want to get away from having to remember.
Well, this will help them, and obviously help with preventing a residue. We don't want to wind up on the FDA's list as violative residues. Talk to me a little bit about then on the back side of this. So I enter my data, and I get that in there, and I'm using it for residue avoidance and using it to keep my protocol straight. Now, what do I see on the back side of this as far as what kind of reports are coming back?
So there are all kinds of built-in reports here, and it also, just as a side note, so I don't forget, it can be downloaded into an Excel spreadsheet, and so you can customize. But basically, we're going to keep track of what reasons you're pulling animals for, what you're treating for. So it'll give a percent of a certain lot will be pulled for respiratory disease, or for foot rot, or for pink eye. It'll calculate your treatment success rate, your case fatality rate, some of those things that you can measure over time and be able to improve. You know, if you, with your veterinary consultant there, is going to say, you know what, this could be better. As you track that over time, you can measure whether or not it really is getting better.
Well, I think this is some great information. Again, Cattle Treatment Manager at www.hospitalpen.com. We're going to take a break, and when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit more about the backside of this program, and then how you can use it with your veterinarian to make decisions to improve the animal health of your herd.
Valley Vet Supply is devoted to providing information and professional quality products at reasonable prices.
Valley Vet Supply.
This Prevention Works Minute, brought to you by Beringer Engelheim Vet Medica, Inc.
Hey folks, Dr. Dan here. Thanks for joining me on our Prevention Works Minute. When we start to think about preventing disease, a lot of times we think about the reason why animals get sick, either an overwhelming dose of a pathogen or a suppressed immune system. When we have a suppressed immune system, most of the time that's due to stress. And one of the things that I really focus on with our feedlot crews and stocker crews is low stress cattle handling. I think it's vitally important that cattle are handled and acclimated in a sense that we make sure that we do not increase the level of stress when we're handling. Make sure that they're exposed to you before you ship those animals, making sure that they understand the commands and that they're acclimated, so that when we ship calves to the feedlot, or when we bring calves off the truck at the feedlot, we're practicing good low-stress cattle handling. Will increase the immune response because we decrease the amount of stress that we see in those calves. And we all know that prevention works.
Did you know long-range planning through the checkoff can help keep your business profitable? To successfully pass on cattle operations from one generation to the next, it's important to promote beef and keep farms and ranches profitable. Your Beef Checkoff helps do that.
I'm Tom Perrier. Our ranch is called Dale Banks Angus. Dale Banks is not a person, but it's a place. This ranch was started by my great-grandfather. He came from northwest England, and his farm there was called Dale Banks, and so he called his ranch here in the Flint Hills Dale Banks. The Beef Checkoff today has fulfilled a lot of needs that our industry had over the years. We were very involved in trying to get the Beef Checkoff passed back in the 70s and early 80s because we saw the need then, and the Beef Checkoff, I think, has fulfilled a lot of those needs.
I think some of the biggest bonuses that we've gotten from the Beef Checkoff in the last 20 years have been twofold, both in the research phase of the industry, one being the Beef Quality Assurance Program that showed us just how much money we could capture by simply doing things like moving the injection sites from the hip and rump of the animal up to the neck, where we had less high-valued cuts. That drove millions of dollars into our industry. The other thing that our beef industry did about 15 years ago was embark on new product development, things like the flat iron steak and things that used to get ground into hamburger and other low-valued cuts today are sold for a premium, and that too, just like the Beef Quality Assurance Program, has driven huge dollars into our industry that we all get to share.
Matt's the primary driver behind the operation right now, and he's the 6th generation, and his children will be the 7th generation.
I hope our kids are better at telling our beef industry's story. I think the last several years the Beef Checkoff has shown us how to do that better. They've given us some tools to do that, so we need to do a better job of telling the wonderful story that we have, and I hope our kids can continue to do that.
No matter where, no matter why, the Veterinary Health Center at Kansas State University is committed to providing quality patient care to animals and exceptional customer service to their owners. From routine checkups to emergency and specialty care, our world-renowned specialists and experienced professionals are here to discover, to teach, and to heal.
Let us know.
How can I help? How can we help?
Are your cows practical or profitable? If you want them to be both, then come to the Dale Banks Angus Bull Sale Saturday, November 18th near Eureka, Kansas. Selling 130 hard-working, balanced straight bulls developed in the rugged Flint Hills. For 113 years, the Perriers have been providing practical, profitable genetics to cattlemen nationwide. Join us November 18th or bid online at liveauctions.tv. Call the Perriers at 620-583-4305 or dalebanks.com.
This segment brought to you by Kansas Farm Bureau, the voice of agriculture. To join today or more information, go to kfb.org or find us on Facebook or Twitter.
Hey folks, welcome back to Doc Talk. Dr. Dan Thompson here with Dr. Kevin Hill, who's from Kaysville, Utah, and he's a veterinarian and also the technical services manager for MERCK Animal Health. Wealth of bovine medicine knowledge, someone that's very active in the Academy of Veterinary Consultants, AABP, and beyond. And this just has brought a tremendous tool to us, and we thank you and MERCK for doing that. So when we go into cattle treatment manager, and we were talking a little bit about treatment success, case fatality rate, it also then can be shared with your veterinarian, right?
Right. Your veterinarian, your nutritionist, anybody that you want to have access to the records, you can define who can log on and look at your reports. So, yeah, if your veterinarian is 100 miles away and he hasn't got time to get out there this afternoon, he can log on while he's having supper and review your past treatments for the last 4 or 5 days, look at the epidemiological curve and see when that outbreak occurred and whether it's still going hot and strong or whether you're on the backside. So those are some of the ways that they can allow access and remotely.
And for you and I mean, we deal with a lot of feed yards and a lot of stocker operations. Just being able to have that snapshot, because what you might be thinking is going on in a day-to-day when you're muddled down in it and you're just doctoring and it's the fall and you're doctoring sick cattle, you may not have a real good feeling until you sit down and actually see that curve or see what the morbidity graphs or mortality graphs look like.
Absolutely. A couple other things that I think are valuable to the producers especially is that it will track costs. And so as you build your list of drugs, you put a cost to you on there, and so every time you use a dose, it calculates what that is, and so you can see what individual costs are, cost per pan over time. That's valuable. And then also an inventory function where if you want to reorder when you're down to 6 bottles of vaccine, you can it'll print a report of what's due to order. So there's some features in there that make life easier once you get used to using them.
Absolutely, and that's what we're getting back to is, everybody's got an app or built in, and to understand where you're at on inventory and you don't wind up getting those 3 loads of calves in and then you look and there's no vaccine, just having that ability to not have to put a processing day off or 2 days off and getting vaccine in those cattle sooner might be the difference in a certain amount of morbidity and mortality.
Yeah, absolutely. Timeliness, accuracy, being able to retrieve records, those are all elements that are really important.
Yeah. Well, thank you a million for being on the show today, and thank you so much for bringing the tool forward for the industry.
My pleasure. Thank you.
We really appreciate it. Folks, thanks for watching Doc Talk, and if you want to know more about what we do at Doc Talk, you can find us on the web at www.doctalktv.com. Remember to always work with your local veterinarian. We really appreciate you watching the show. I'm Dr. Dan Thompson, and we'll see you down the road.
Closed captioning brought to you by Ag Promo Source. Together we grow. Learn more at agpromosource.com.